Good day, Deep in Word family. We are day 20 into our Bible studies. The chapter review for today, it's Exodus, chapters 9 through 11. Let's do a quick recap of where we left off. Yesterday, the last plague that was on the citizens of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, all right? That's a picture of the world. It was the plague of flies, all right? And in order for these flies to go away, Pharaoh has to go to Moses and ask Moses to pray to Yahuwah Elohim. But the agreement between Moses and Pharaoh is that Pharaoh said, okay, pray to your Elohim, and I will let you and your people go for 3 days to slaughter to your Yahuwah Elohim in the wilderness. Well, as soon as Moses went to go pray for the plague of flies to go away, Pharaoh hardened his heart yet again, and he did not keep to his word. So as we walk into chapter 9, Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim, goes to Moses and Aaron. He tells them, look, go to Pharaoh again. Go to him again and tell him that if he does not let my people go, he says, upon their livestock, upon their beast, and upon the citizens of Egypt will come a very grievous pestilence. So they do. They go to Pharaoh and they tell him that at this appointed time tomorrow, these things shall come to pass unless you let my people go. We know how the story goes. Pharaoh does not listen. So the very next day, guess what falls upon the land, but does not fall upon the children of Israel, because he has already made a distinction. He has already separated his holy ones. It's the plague of boils. He tells Moses and Aaron, go take the dust of the earth, throw it into the air, and when it falls down on the citizens of Egypt, when it falls down on their livestock, it will cause boils upon them. And I want you to see how the 10 plagues of Egypt, there are so many that are almost neck and neck, almost identical with the bowls of wrath in Revelation chapter 16. Please compare the two and see how it is the story of our Elohim saving us and making a clear distinction between his people and those who are under the deception of Satan. So the plague of boils, it happens. It's on the citizens of Mitzrayim, Egypt, and on all of their livestock. But Pharaoh still hardens his heart. So the very next day, our Yahuwah Elohim tells Moses and Aaron, he says, go to Pharaoh and tell him this. Let my people go so that they may serve me. For this time I am sending all of my plagues unto your heart and on your servants and on your people, so that you know that there is no one like me in all of the earth. Now, if I had stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with pestilence, then you would have been cut off from the earth. Our Yahuwah is saying, if I wanted to destroy you in one fell swoop, I would have. But see, I am giving a little bit of a warning to those who want to heed and follow me. Do you still see the mercy and grace of our Father, that he separates his people so that those who are outside of the covenant can see that these plagues are not falling upon his own, so that they would be provoked to then follow the one true El? Do you see this? He gives warning even to those who are running this very satanic world system. Please believe he has given plenty of warning to them. Plenty. And many still decide, like Pharaoh, to harden their hearts. Let's continue reading in verse 17. You still exalt yourself against my people, and that you do not let them go. See, tomorrow about this time, I am causing very heavy hail to rain down, such as has not been in Mitzrayim from the day of its founding until now. And now, bring your livestock to safety, and all that you have into the field, for hail shall come down on every man and every beast, which is found in the field and is not brought home, they shall die. Do you see our Elohim giving warning to those outside of the covenant, saying, come inside, bring your livestock, come inside, because judgment is about to fall. He is merciful. Verse 20. Those among the servants of Pharaoh who revered the word of Yahuwah made their servants and their livestock flee to the houses. So they took shelter. They took the word of Yahuwah Elohim. Verse 21. But those who did not lay their heart on the word of Yahuwah left their servants and livestock in the field. So guess what? The plague of hail fell. Fire and lightning was coming down. Only those who heeded the warning and the word of Yahuwah Elohim were safe from these plagues. And this was for those who were outsiders. But guess where the hail and the thunderings, the lightning and the fire did not fall? In the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were. It says that the hail tore up Egypt. Not only did it kill the livestock, the animals, but every plant, food was destroyed, leaving the land bare, so that Egypt would experience famine. Do you see how if you don't heed to the word, do you see how if you have a lack of spiritual discernment, you will have a lack of bread too? If you don't eat of the heavenly manna, you will starve in the natural. Do you see it? Lack of the word, famine of the word equals famine in the natural. Why? Because there is judgments for those who do not honor Yahuwah Elohim, those who rebel against the Creator. He says, you will not enjoy my creation. Bread, food is part of my creation. I made that. You want to continue eating those things that sustain your life? Do it in the spirit first. Yield to my commands, and I will give you your daily bread. So Egypt is destroyed. It is destroyed. It no longer looks glorious the way that it looked. And so we see Pharaoh cries out again to Moses. And this is what he says in verse 27. I have sinned this time. Yahuwah is righteous and my people and I are wicked. Excuse me, Pharaoh, but all of your people are not wicked. Many of them did heed to the words of Yahuwah Elohim, and many of them are going to go with the children of Israel in the wilderness, and many of them are going to be grafted into the covenant, because you, sir, a picture of Satan, do not care about your citizens. You are so puffed up with pride that you would watch your citizens die. I hope y'all see that Pharaoh is a picture of Satan, that Egypt is a picture of the world system, and Mitzrayim means bondage. He is a leader who does not care about his citizens. Oh, but our leader, our king, loves us so much that he laid down his life for us. He laid down his life so that we can become partakers of the covenant. We could partake of the inheritance so that he could make us rich. He became poor to make us rich. But you see Pharaoh, who was rich and made his citizens poor to the point of death, all for the sake of pride. Y'all know I'm saucy. Y'all know I'm going to get saucy in between these readings, okay? I'm going to let them use me, all of my country self, all right? So let's continue reading in verse 28. These are the words of Pharaoh. Pray to Yahuwah, for there has been enough thunder and hail of Elohim, and I'm going to let you go so that you stay no longer. And Moshe said to him, as soon as I go out of the city, let me spread out my hands to Yahuwah. Let the thunder cease and the hail be no more, so that you know that the earth belongs to Yahuwah. Verse 30. These are the words of Moshe. But as for you and your servants, I know that you do not yet fear Yahuwah Elohim. And Moses ain't telling no lies. If the inhabitants of Egypt really truly feared Elohim, and I mean as a whole, they definitely would have ran to Goshen. They definitely would have sought out instructions from the children of Israel how to escape these plagues. But yet they are still under the hand, under the deception of Pharaoh, even though he is so prideful, even though they are suffering. The majority still won't repent. And so at the end of chapter 9, we see that the majority of all of the food is destroyed. It says that only the wheat, because the wheat came in as a late harvest. That's all that they had for food left over in the land of Mitzrayim. Oh, but over in Goshen, child, they got plenty of food. Grocery stores are stocked full. Chapter 9 ends. Moses prays to Yahuwah Elohim. He takes the hail away and it stops. And then Pharaoh hardens his heart again. Now we walk into chapter 10 and we see that Yahuwah Elohim has further instructions for Moses and Aaron to go to Pharaoh yet again. And this is what he instructs them to say. Let's read in verse 3. Thus says Yahuwah Elohim of the Hebrews, till when shall you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that they may serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, see, tomorrow I am bringing locusts within your borders, and they shall cover the surface of the land so that no one is able to see the land. And they shall eat the rest of what has escaped, which remains to you from the hail. And they shall eat from every tree which grows up. They say the locusts will not only eat up your food, they will fill your houses. They will fill your father's houses, your servants' houses. And the servants of Pharaoh are finally bending the knee. This is what they say to Pharaoh in verse 7. Till when would this one be a snare to us? Let the men go so that they may serve Yahuwah their Elohim. Do you not yet see that Mitzrayim is destroyed? They're pleading with their leader. Hello, wake up. There's barely anything left. Let them go. So it says that Pharaoh tells Moses and Aaron, okay, I'll let your people go and sacrifice to your Elohim. And he asks, who all is going with you? Moses tells him, everyone, and our flocks and our herds. And he says, oh, just don't go far. Just don't go far. So Yahuwah Elohim knows that, Pharaoh, he's faking it. So he does. He releases this plague of locusts upon the land, upon the people in their houses. And so Pharaoh calls for Moses and Aaron again. And so we know the process. Moses prays to Yahuwah Elohim and the locusts stop. And then Pharaoh hardens his heart again and he doesn't let the people go. Doesn't this sound exhausting? So Yahuwah tells Moses, stretch out your hand towards the heavens, towards the Shamayim. And he says, I will cause a plague of darkness to fall on the land of Egypt for 3 days. And it happened as such. It was so dark that they could not see right in front of them. No one left their house, for they could not see a thing. There was no daylight, y'all. Dark for 3 days. Please read in the book of Revelation. You'll see something similar happens. Please take note that those who live in Goshen, the set-apart ones, the children of Israel, the children of Elohim, they had light. They could see perfectly. Now this is literal, but it's also symbolic for us. We have light. We see because we have the one who gives us light. We have Messiah. We have the Lamb. So Pharaoh calls Moses and Aaron yet again, but he doesn't ask them to pray. He doesn't repent at all. He just says, go. You and your little ones, just leave your flocks behind and go slaughter to your Elohim. And Moses is like, nonsense. Are you going to supply us animals, livestock, so that we may slaughter to our Elohim? He goes, no, not a hoof will be left behind. I'm taking our little ones, I'm taking everybody, and we're taking our flocks. He says, we don't know what it is that we're called to slaughter to him until we get there. We will get the instructions when we get there. I hope this is preaching to you. Hearken to his voice. When he tells you to do something, do it. He'll give you the instructions for the next step once you heed his instruction for the last one. Let's wrap up chapter 10 and let's see how this thing goes. Pharaoh hardens his heart yet again, and he does not let the people go. So let's read verse 28. And Pharaoh said to him, get away from me. Watch yourself and see my face no more. For in the day you see my face, you die. And Moshe said, you have spoken rightly. Never again will I see your face. You see, the next time that Pharaoh comes in contact with the children of Israel, Pharaoh himself will die, and Moses will not see his face. Pharaoh prophesied over his own demise. We open up chapter 11, and Yahuwah Elohim is ramping things up. He's getting his people prepared for what is about to happen. He tells Moshe, I am going to send one more plague upon the inhabitants of Mitzrayim. And so he gives Moses instructions to tell the people of Israel. And we find it in verse 2. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, objects of silver and of gold. These are to be used for the tabernacle in the wilderness, y'all. Verse 3. And Yahuwah gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites. And the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mitzrayim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. Verse 4. And Moshe said, thus said Yahuwah, about midnight I am going out into the midst of Mitzrayim. And all of the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim shall die, the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of the cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout the land of Mitzrayim, such as has never been or ever be again. Verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel no dog shall move its tongue, against man or against beast. So you shall know that Yahuwah makes distinction between Mitzrayim and Israel. He makes a clear distinction between his children and the children of Satan. Point blank period. That's the parallel. Let's continue reading verses 8 through 10 and finish out the chapter. And all the servants of yours shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, get out, you and all the people, at your feet. And after that I shall go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. But Yahuwah said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you in order that I may multiply my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. And Moses and Aaron did all the words of the wonders before Pharaoh. However, Yahuwah hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. So Yahuwah makes a way of great escape, and he prepares his people for this great escape beforehand. He gives them words, and he tells them what to do before escaping. It's no different within the new covenant or the renewed covenant. Hopefully you see the parallels. Egypt, that's a picture of the world's system. Who is over the world system? Pharaoh. That's a picture of Satan. Satan has his minions. He has his false prophets, the magicians and the witchcraft practitioners. One of the biggest false prophets of today, y'all, is television, the media. The media is under the hand of satanic principalities. The battle is over your mind. If our Yahuwah Elohim can get your mind and renew your mind through his word, then he can start to work out his plan of salvation in you. Why do you think the word says, do not be conformed to the pattern of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind? The enemy is out for your mind. Y'all, we are three parts: mind, body, and spirit. We are spirits. We live in this body, and our mind is our soul. Mind, will, and emotions. That's what our heart is. The enemy is after your heart, but so is our Heavenly Father. He's after your heart. He wants to be the king upon the throne of your heart. Nothing but good can come from that, y'all. He has plans to prosper you. He has plans to make a way of escape for you. Hopefully you see the parallels in this story. Today's chapters were just getting you ready for the true plan of salvation. We will see the Passover instituted. We will see the way of great escape in tomorrow's reading. Deep in Word family, that is all that I have for you today. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. Until tomorrow, Yah bless.